Okay, Siddharth?
Yes, Mr. Naren.
I hope my voice is audible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's clear.
Okay, perfect. Hi, Chetan. Good afternoon. Hope my voice is audible, right?
I believe he's on mute. Just a minute.
Just checking. Just wanted to make sure that the voice is audible.
Yeah, Narendra, it's audible.
Okay, thank you, Chetan. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. We will start off in another 5 minutes. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and then we will start off. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, thank you all for joining. Let us know if we were audible, if you could hear all of us as of now on the chat box. The confirmation will be good.
All right, Siddharth, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Narendra Venugopal, and I take care of marketing at Web Solutions. Again, good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for joining. Thank you for taking some time with us as well. I see a few recurring attendees today. Thank you for your support. We will continue to bring in more informative webinars as we go forward. In fact, in the recent past, we've been doing a few webinars. We did one on 25th of November in association with Lakshmi Kumar and Sridharan. It went on to be one of the good events. Continued and followed by another event on 9th of December. We did another one with one of our implementation partner, which primarily was covering up SAP and e-invoice integration with digital signature as well. That was also one of the good events that happened. In fact, we have another event coming up on 23rd of December, again with Lakshmi Kumar and Sridharan. It's a dedicated session, and we would love to see you all over there as well. You would soon see a invitation for the same. Request you all to subscribe so that you can join us again on the webinar. Today we have Mr. Chetan Ghai from Galaxy Surfactant Limited. Chetan, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Narendra.
Yep. So Galaxy Surfactant is an Indian-based company engaged in manufacturing and marketing surfactants and specialty chemical for personal and home care industry. So the company itself is around 2,500 crore above, and they're one of our premium customers based out of Mumbai. And Mr. Chetan is here to share his experience of having his foot on the ground during the implementation of e-invoice at Galaxy Surfactant. So today at Galaxy Surfactant, they have SAP and e-invoice integrated. It's a full-fledged automated solution, and Chetan has played a huge role over there. And that's one of the reasons he's here to share his experience, and we'll see how things goes on further from here. Again, Chetan, thank you so much for your time. Chetan, for the benefit of the audience, right, we would start off with some of the basic questions here, and then we will, continue on to some of the, questions that will actually relate to the scenarios.
Sure.
Thank you. May I understand which version of SAP ERP do you use, Chetan, at Galaxy Surfactant?
Yeah. So thank you, Narendra, for inviting me to this esteemed forum, and I will be very glad if I will be able to help the attendees in their journey of this e-invoice automation, which is a major milestone after GST implementation. Yeah, so as far as SAP ERP is concerned, it's been 1.5 years. We have migrated from ECC to S4 HANA. So currently we are on S4H 1709. We have migrated in June 2019. So this implementation, everything is on S4 HANA 1709.
Perfect. And so the implementation of e-invoice itself happened on SAP HANA, right?
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, the e-way bill automation and the e-invoice automation both has been on S4H only.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yes.
And this is one of the important milestones, I guess. When we talk about when did you actually start planning for e-invoice implementation? As 1st
Yes.
October 2020 was mandatory go live, right?
Right, right. So as everyone is aware, the earlier date of go live was 1st April 2020, right?
Right,
So
right.
due to this COVID, it was extended to October. But we had our internal taxation team discussions with external consultant discussion way back in February also and March also. And the planning is dependent on the objective you want to achieve from the project. So when you also, Narendra, came to our office for this, when we have already done the implementation of e-way bill and it was live, as a Galaxy, we were having two major objectives to achieve in this automation. First was the compliance of the law to the T, and second objective was to there should not be any extra step or extra effort taken by the end users in generating this e-invoice. So based on this objective, actual implementation we started from 1st September when the data flow, the required information passed through the configurations, the APIs, the middlewares were decided. So actually the planning started on 1st September. So we took a 1 month and we were live on 1st October. Our first invoice was IRN generated on 1st October.
That's good news, Chetan. So if we understand right, the backend requirement where you had to line up your indirect taxation team,
Yes.
to make sure that your objectives are set. All that was done even before September 1st. The actual implementation started off on 1st of September, and you were dot on time to make sure that your the first e-invoice starts off on 1st October.
Yeah,
is that understanding right?
Yes, absolutely. So as I said, Galaxy is a totally law compliance company. So law compliance comes first. So we had internal meetings with our taxation team to understand what is expected on the legal side. Then only we can achieve the part from the automation or the system side. So we were very clear when we started our journey of actual data sharing and automation from 1st September. We have our scenarios listed, we will be sharing, we will be seeing in the next coming up slides. So we were very clear in what scenarios the e-invoice is required, what data is required in those scenarios. So we were very clear from day one.
Perfect, Chetan.
Yes.
So let me move on to the next one here.
Yeah.
So Chetan, I think, in fact, in the audience itself, we have spoken to most of the audience today. We also have certain team members who have joined from IT as well, specifically from IT, from their own organization. I think there'll be more and more involved as we go and in terms of the process that you went through as well. So the part here, I think, apart from this, is the prerequisites. I think, to setting up the integration between SAP and e-invoice, the prerequisite would have played a premium role because you had to set that in advance. So
yes,
you have shared some data here. I've just put it up on the screen. If you can just talk a little bit about that, that will help our audience as well.
Yeah. So when we started sharing the data with the web's technical team, we understood that a few of the fields are mandatory for generating e-invoice, and e-invoice cannot be generated if these fields are not in place. So and these fields had some validations also. Say for example, if you look at the PIN code, so a PIN code has to be a 6-digit number, okay, for domestic supplies as such, and it should correlate with its state. So you cannot have a Karnataka PIN code in your master when the region is Maharashtra. The e-invoice will not generate, and it will give you an error that the PIN code is not matching. Or if the PIN code digits are, say for example, 5-digit or 4-digit as far as domestic sales are concerned. So what we did, while sharing, and the address field were also mandatory. So initially what we did, we spooled our customer master from SAP, and we identified which are the most filled up data, because as you see in the screen, there are a lot many lines for address. Okay, so there was not inconsistency in updation of addresses in these fields. So what we did, we spooled out a customer master totally, and we checked which two fields are mostly populated, is field for maximum number of customers. So that fields we made mandatory. Then postal code, and then region, and then city. And then we had an internal meeting with the customer master creation team and informed them going forward, these fields are mandatory, and the dispatches will be held if the invoice is not generated. So we have to hygiene these things. So this is the screenshot we have taken, we have circulated, and we have updated those data. So this was from the customer master side providing the data. Other part on the prerequisite was to have our various scenarios, the sales document types, as I go in a little bit technical. So sales order types, we have to map through which means for which document the invoice should be generated. So we map the sales document types also. This is where I'm coming from. I was not aware that this type of there is an issue in mapping of sales document type. But just as I want to share an example, just a day before, see, we were going live on 1st October, and just a day before, on 29th or 30th September, I got a call from our vendor, and he asked me a question: are you looking after the implementation of this invoicing automation? I said yes. So he asked me how we are generating invoice for export sales. So because in export, the dispatch happens at a different time, and the accounting entry is posted at a different time, period of time once the BL is received.
Right.
Yeah. So I said, no, we are generating it at the time of dispatch only, because GST law this invoice has to be generated at the time of dispatch only. So he asked me how we were doing this. So I said, we are mapping the sales document types. So from him, I understood they were mapping the FI document type, the accounting entry part of it. So this is one thing we have to keep in mind. When we are doing this as a prerequisite, we should map the sales document type rather at the time of which are used at the time of generation of the our dispatch invoice, the GST invoice. So that will help. That will help surely. So these were the prerequisites we had on our mind, and we acted upon while before implementing the invoice solution.
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you on that part. So I think you have shared one more screen on the same part.
Yes,
is there something that you want to? Yeah.
So what happened? The government had made mandatory of generating the QR code for registered customers. Okay. Who are registered with the GST, but we are also catering to our URD customers also. And what system we had in place? Since the law required, there should not be, the invoice should not be generated or sent with the vehicle if the QR code is not generated. Correct. So we had restricted. So as a system, we had restricted printing of invoice in our system. Okay, but that will work only for registered customers. For URD, anyways, the QR code was not required. So since the document type for both the type of sales were same, the system was blocking the URD customers also, right? So what we did in this, we had already maintained, if you see the screen, this is a customer master GST maintenance screen. Since we are on S4H, this is a business partner screen. So there in identification, there is IN3 category where GST number is maintained. And there is down below, this is the second screen is of unregistered customer master, where we have maintained IN2 and URP is the tax number. So what we did, in the program itself of generating the invoice, we said once the customer master is having a IN2 category and the tax number is URP, so system will not process that document further. It will directly allow the user to print the invoice. So that was also we did a configuration. And in the cockpit, in the report, the status report, the sales made to URD in the IRN status, they were showing as not applicable. So we were showing the sales made to URD customers, the IRN generation is not applicable. This is what we did for URD customers also. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Chetan. So let me get on to the next part. So at Galaxy, what are the various scenarios that was covered? You've shared some data here. If you can just throw a little bit of light here on this part, that'll be great as well.
Yeah. So in Galaxy we have domestic sale and export sales with inter-unit transport, with export, with deemed export. So we have different document types and all these type of sales. Correct. So this was the basic data sheet, a checklist type of sheet which we prepared. These were our billing document that on the staging server, and major part was this was the smart form. These were the smart form linked to this type of sale invoices. So what we did, we prepared this sheet, we made changes in the respective smart forms, and this was a kind of checklist where we checked whether the IRN is getting generated in every scenario, where the QR code is getting generated in every type of invoice, and after scanning the QR code, whether the data which the QR code is showing is matching with our invoice data. So this is what I was talking in the earlier sessions. We map the sales document types for generation of our e-invoices.
And I'm guessing these are the type of smartphones that was customized as well for your requirement, correct, right?
Yes. These were the smartphones which were customized to include the space for the QR code and the 64-digit IRN.
Okay.
Chetan,
just out of curiosity, right?
Yes.
I understand that when you started off, you had this checklist where Galaxy had already decided these are the smartphones that has to be customized. Yes. But did you get into a situation at any stage that you had to add another smartphone has to be customized, so on and so forth? Did you get into that situation at all, or it was all within this prerequisite that you had already set up?
No. So we had already created all the forms required in the GST format only at the time of GST implementation. Whether or not we were using or not using, that was a secondary part. But smartphones were already in place, so we didn't have to add any smartphone for this e-invoice implementation. All the smartphones were there only. Only we have to identify the space for the QR code, because as you are aware, the earlier QR code was of a smaller size, a 2x2, I think, where the data capture was of less characters. Then in April, I guess, and then while in September they had increased the characters. It was, I think, now currently is of 900 characters. So the size of the QR code increased. So we have to adjust our smartphones accordingly to that. That was the only requirement, but there was no such addition of any smartphone for specifically for e-invoicing. Yes.
Perfect. So, Chetan, this is some of the common questions that comes up even today as well from our prospects and people who are inquiring about the. How long does it take for an e-invoice from an e-invoice to invoice to an e-invoice getting generated and having it printed as well? How long does it take on a practical scenario?
Yeah, Narendra. So what happened now when we were under the implementation phase and we generated our first e-invoice through the staging server? We were also surprised to see that there is hardly any microsecond time when we posted the invoice. We posted the invoice and we go to the command to print preview, and the IRN and QR code was there. So it takes hardly any time between generating the invoice, posting the invoice into the system, creating the invoice into the ERP, and getting the IRN and QR code printed on that invoice. It is pretty super fast.
Perfect. I think that will lighten everybody's heart here. Because one thing is for sure that comes from your own experience, that it doesn't take more than a second or less. I guess it takes less than a second to get an e-invoice generated, is what you're telling me, right?
Yeah,
I think that's something that everyone wanted to hear.
Yeah. So just see, we post invoice with a T code VF01. We take that 9 series number, we post it into for print preview. And when you see the print preview, the IRN and QR code is generated. It's in there. It's on the smartphone. That is what it takes. Yes.
Perfect. So, Chetan, I'm just sharing the e-invoice that you generated from your staging server.
Yes.
If you can just brief on that. I think you have another invoice that you have shared with the TCS involved in that as well, right? I'll be getting into that slide as well. But if you want to throw a little bit of light here on this part, because this is one of the smart forms that you have got customized to make sure the IRN and QR code has been included, right?
Absolutely. So this is our invoice. So your technical team had also appreciated, going by their experience, we had a very good smartphone with lot of space to incorporate the QR code. Earlier we had planned it to somewhere beside the GSTN, but there in some of our invoices we are capturing the customer payment bank details. So we identified, we had a lot of discussion with our senior and SD consultant and the team, and then we decided we will have the tax invoice, the IRN over on the top of this. The tax invoice was printed in between on the center, but we moved it to the on the left, and then IRN was captured over there, and the QR code was captured over here. So as we are aware, on 1st October, with the e-invoice getting mandatory, there was one more statutory requirement, that was TCS for domestic sales was getting mandated also. So as you see in this slide, you will be seeing the TCS column also in the earlier one. So that this we face a major challenge, because since the configuration was parallel, the TCS configuration into the system has nothing to do with the GST invoice configuration, but the smartphone were common. So this was this we had a major challenge, and since the consultants doing this implementation, the configuration were different. So we had some challenge over there. First we completed the QR code and IRN changes in our smartphone, and then we released those tasks from the TR, and then we handed the smartphones to the TCS consultant to include the TCS value. And one more part was that earlier when we configured this IRN and QR code, it was only including the invoice amount excluding TCS. Then we say this was the stage till 15 September. But after 15 September, the configuration for TCS was also done. So now we have to again check the QR code and the data going into the portal, whether it is including the TCS amount or not. So we were glad we had such a great consultants in the form of WEP and our other TCS that we were able to achieve that challenge also and meet the deadlines for both the mandatory requirements. So this is how there is a difference between, if you go back to the original invoice, please, Narendra, you will say there is no TCS field in that. And now
right. I can see that. So after IGST amount, there is no TCS here. In the next slide, we have TCS also included. It's here at the bottom right-hand corner. We can see that. Yes.
So this was a major challenge at that time also. Yeah, Narendra. Anything on this part? So I will be happy to explain or answer.
Sure, Chetan. So one of my colleagues is taking down queries at the back end if anything comes up.
Okay. So there's actually one. Just a minute, sir. There's one question. There's one question since Mr. Chetan has brought this up. There's one question from Mr. Anirban. He says he'd like to understand the functional flow for generating e-invoicing irrespective of any ERP.
So functional flow is we are as an end user, dispatch team is generating the e-invoice. Okay. So they are performing their regular function, means what they were doing. They are taking the delivery document and they are scheduling the invoice, posting the invoice into the system. So on the functional part, there is no change or no extra step or effort taken by the end users for generating the invoice. Everything is happening in the backend. The APIs are capturing the required data from the ERP and posting it to the GSTN portal, and from there the IRN and the QR code with the respective data is coming into the ERP, and the invoice is getting printed. So in the middleware we are using for this integration is a SAP PO, where the payload is getting generated and the data transfer is going on. So there is no change as such in your regular or functional process of generating the invoice which you are doing currently now, which anyone will be doing from any digital system.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Answers,
Chetan.
Yes.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Chetan. So, Chetan, I understand that you did mention about unregistered dealers in the previous slides.
Yes.
If you can just highlight again here on this part, how did you handle unregistered dealers?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we have mapped the sales document type for generating e-invoice. Hope this is clear with the audience. So what happens? There is no separate document type for registered or unregistered dealers when we are selling to them. So document type remains same. So if I keep that document type as same, the invoice if the invoice is not generated, the system will restrict the print of that invoice, which ideally should not happen in case of unregistered dealers. So for unregistered dealers, we have again made built a logic into the program. The system will pick up the customer code of unregistered dealer from the invoice, from the transaction, and it will go into the customer master. It will check if it is if the tax number is URP, if the customer master is showing a tax number as URP, unregistered customer, that then the program will not go further to check whether the IRN is generated or not, or anything like that. It will directly allow the user to print the invoice. In the other case, if the program goes into the system and checks, yes, GST number is there, so what the system will do, it will go one step forward to check whether the IRN is, or the IRN QR code is updated in the table, in the backend table. Then only he will allow the user to print the document. So that is how we made the system to take the printout and dispatch the vehicle in case of unregistered dealers.
Perfect. I hope that helped our audience, because this is something that was coming up in the past as well.
Yes.
Moving on to the next question here. So this is something that as part of any IT project implementation, right? The IT team would go through. So in your scenario, did you face any challenges during the implementation phase, Chetan? It's actually during the implementation itself. That's 1st of September onwards when you started off the implementation, right? Did you face any kind of challenges at that stage?
So challenges. Say first was there was before the challenge there was a doubt whether the data will go and the IRN will be generated and getting printed on the invoice. So when the first IRN, there was a doubt, because, and what happened, this was new. Means you will not have any customer having a past experience for this implementation, right? So everybody was the first doing this. Absolutely. But when the first, as I said earlier, when the first IRN and QR code got generated and got printed on the invoice, right? So till that time we didn't face any challenge. We only provided the data to the technical team. We were very clear on our requirement, our data, our information which we provided, understanding the process. Our middlewares were in place, so everything was in place. And then when the first IRN QR code generated, we were very sure that this will work. Then only the testing part was there. The challenge, as I said, was on the smart form part. The printing of the QR code on the invoice took a major time and adjustments on the smart form. So that was a little bit of a challenge. But since we had a very good format, we were able to get a required space for printing the invoice. But others, when I discussed with the technical team, others were having issue on that front. And the second challenge was that the TCS implementation, to include the amount of TCS also while generating the invoice, that was the configuration part that we face. Otherwise, other than that, we didn't face any challenges or bottlenecks while implementation.
So the takeaway here is, the audience have to definitely keep an eye for the smart forms modification, because that would take some chunk of your time.
Yes, that will take
that has to be pre-decided.
Yes, because what happens now, the web technical team, they will do everything on the technical part, but the smart form is already in place for majority of the assessees. Yes, so on that part, they will not be able to help you much. Okay, they will guide you, but the space you have to provide on that smart form, right? So that takes a time. That takes time.
So, I mean, when these invoices go out to your customers, right? Was there any first impressions from your customers, Chetan? I mean, you have sent your invoice now that we are already into December now. Yes. So when your initial customers, they would be seeing the invoice for the first time, with IRN and QR code. Did anybody call you to talk about it, so on and so forth, or it was just like a smooth process wherein they get the invoice and the processing starts off?
No. So there was no such call from any customer, and it was very smooth. In fact, now we are into 2.5 months of this e-invoice, but we are not facing any major challenge or issue generating the e-invoices. There is no such issue. Only part is that the screen I showed, the prerequisite, where we have to do a system, the master hygiene on our end. When that was done, currently there are no such major issues on the invoice generation part.
Perfect. So, Chetan, again, thank you so much for your time. We're just pausing for about 30 seconds here to see if the audience have any queries in between. Siddharth, if there's any questions coming up, you can take it up now.
Sure. Okay.
Before we move forward.
Sure.
So team, you can actually put your questions on the chat and we will take that up. In the meantime, I would like to also launch a poll to understand as of now. So I'm launching it right now. Okay, I hope you're seeing this on your screen. Does the customer sharing their experience directly help? We'd like to know. I'll keep this for another 1 minute before I end the poll. Meantime, if there's any questions, you can put it on the chat box and we will take it up. Okay, so there's another question from Mr. Anirban. How is it that you are changing TCS? Is it on invoice or during collection time?
No. So it's a good question right now. So we are charging the TCS at the time of invoice generation only. Okay, so this was a practically industry had decided, and this was a practical solution that will charge the TCS on invoice, but we are paying it to the government at the time of collection. So I'm from SAP background, so I can tell you there is a standard program in SAP where once the amount is received from the customer, we have to execute a month-end program where all these invoices where TCS is charged, and we have received the amount from the customer. It gets automatically posted from an interim account to a TCS payable account from where the payment is made to the government. So we are charging on invoice.
Okay. All right. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Anirban. Thank you. We have another question from Mr. Pulak. What about scenarios like change of vehicle number or transporter? Are we using APIs for this as well?
So you are this question I'm assuming it's coming from the e-waybill automation side. Right, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes.
Related to e-waybill, yeah, because today we have e-waybill and e-invoice put together, right? I think that it's related to that, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. So currently, as far as Galaxy is concerned, we had automated our e-waybill thing in, I think, November or December 2019. And e-invoicing we have started from October. So currently we are doing it on a parallel APIs. Now we are merging it to say from first January we will be merging it within a single API for generation of e-waybill in invoice in one go. So we are not facing any as such change of vehicle cases as of now, because our vehicles go directly from our warehouse or plant to customer. If any cases there is a depot transfers we have, so in that case the transporter is generating the e-waybill from there on. This is what we are doing. We at our end we are not changing the vehicle or the transporter as far as the e-waybill generation is concerned.
All right. Okay. So Mr. Naren, do you want to go ahead with the presentation, or do we take a few more questions?
I think we are good at this point of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah. Chetan, again, thank you so much for your time today. I know you had a lot on your plate, and you still took out some time for us. It's been an honor, you joining us, specifically related to the details that you shared on today's webinar. This shows that you had your foot on the ground, where you have every single detail on the process that was followed during the e-invoice implementation. I'm sure this has helped our audience here, and that shows on the poll itself today. Again, thank you so much. We will be moving forward with the webinar on the demo session.
Yeah, so thank you, Narendra, for inviting me. As again said, thank you for inviting me, and hope I'm helpful for the assessees who are now planning for the invoice, because it is I think again mandatory for 100 crore turnover from 1st Jan, as I understand. So hope I'm helpful, and the Galaxy's type of implementation has helped them in their automation journey. Yeah, thank you once again for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you,
sir.
So again, good afternoon to all. We're going to move to the second phase of the webinar. Here, we are primarily going to concentrate on the e-invoice integration with SAP live demo is what we're going to show today. Along with the integration, we're also going to show the digital signature as well, how a digital signature goes along with the invoice. So as we get into that, I just want to have a quick brief about WEP as a company itself. WEP was initially known as Wipro ePeripherals, and in 2000, it became an independent entity. WEP has business both on the enterprise front for enterprise companies, as well as it also has business on the retail front as well. So when we talk about the enterprise, we have managed print services where the primary business model is, we rent our printers and charge on print basis per page. Here, we also provide support for customers who have their own assets as well. So these are the two things. In fact, WEP was named one of the best MPS companies in recent times from Cell IT. In addition to that, we also have digital transformation solutions. Under digital transformation solution, we have two separate products. One is related to GST. So WEP is one of the GST Suvidha providers, and we have the license from the government. We also have developed a solution in-house, which has a single login for your GST filing, e-way bill, e-invoice. It has dashboards, reconciliation, so on and so forth, all in a single package. In addition to that, the same solution can be extended to integrate with your ERP system as well. And integration can either happen through APIs or through SFTP. Both are possible. In addition to that, we also have a WEP DMS, which is Document Management System. It's an enterprise solution. We have three different modules that acts as a platform. One is low-code development platform. There's another one called Document Repository and Workflow Automation. Combined, it's a single platform on top of which we have built multiple solutions, one of them being Employee Records Management System. This primarily handles employee records. In most organizations, the data of the employees is managed on their HRMS system, but the records, which is primarily the medical records or joining documents, are still in physical status, and that's what we manage using the software. We've also automated procure-to-pay automation using the same software. We have MRF based out of Chennai, who's using the software for procure-to-pay automation. We also have done vendor management using the same software as well. In recent times, we are also moving towards the pharma and chemical sectors where we are implementing the same platform with different solutions, one of them being management of change as well, and ISO process automation, so on and so forth. In addition to that, we have intelligent office automation solutions. One of the highlights here is, WEP has been, Ricoh Japan, which is primarily a printer manufacturing company. We are an authorized distribution partner in India. So we sell and support Ricoh products in India. Now that's on the enterprise front. Coming to the retail segment, we have POS machines. You'd have seen the machines in Kirana stores, for billing purposes. So we manufacture those machines. We have factory in Baddi and Mysore. We have close to around 2 lakh customers on retail segment alone. Here, today we have machines which is GST enabled as well. So having said that, as we move on, we have invited our implementation partner, Excella. who's going to demo SAP integration with e-invoice and show a live demo of how that works. Along with that, we'll also be seeing how a digital signature works along with e-invoice. So to do the same, I'm inviting Mr. Bala, who's going to take it forward from here on. Mr. Bala, I hope you are there on the call, right?
Yes, Siddharth. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'll stop sharing and you can take it forward from here on. Again, Bala, thank you so much for your time today. I think we had a superb session last time on 9th of December. We have a solid audience today as well. I hope they also enjoy seeing what you have to show today.
Sure. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Siddharth. So from the digital signature solution, primarily for any outgoing document from SAP, we'll be able to add a digital signature. This includes invoices, credit debit notes, and PO document. As the document generated in SAP, we can add a digital signature on a specific location. Once digitally signed invoice, the same can be either mailed or it can be stored in any cloud storage, or it also can be archived back to SAP DMS server. And the solution also provides that mass signing. So where we can also like a mass document, we can sign it in case of supplementary invoices and so on. We can also use this mass signing function. And in case of multiple plant and multiple location, so based on that different plant, we will have a different signing authority for invoices. So we can also configure a rule-based signature. And then it also provides a easy log audit management and as well as easy administration of the signature and the storage functions. And this solution goes well within SAP system. So it doesn't require any additional configuration within SAP. So it runs with an existing SAP suite itself. So we'll move to next slide. So from the solution process side, once the transaction is executed, the moment invoice is generated, then if required, it goes for a one level of approval. If not, directly we take that invoice document, validate it whether FI document is generated. If yes, then we take the document and convert it into PDF file, then add a digital signature, and signed copy of document will get attached back to SAP, or it also can send an email to that third party mail IDs or to an FTP location. We can save the signed document. So here rule-based signing is like we can set up plant or your sales division wise. We can set up the document and as well as document type wise, we can set up a signing authority. So from there, it picks the signature and adds a signature to that invoice document. So this works with that Smart Form, SAP script or Adobe form. So without modifying existing layout. So we can just identify a place for adding a signature and we can add a digitally signed document. So we'll move to the next slide. This also works for non-SAP system like Oracle ERP or in Microsoft Cloud ERP or any other custom ERP application also, we can integrate this solution. So here it comes as a API. So at the time of printing, you call our API that will take a data as a stream and then add a digital signature and return a file. So this signed document, again, we can store it back to your ERP system or to any cloud storage or sending an email, we can do that. So that way it also works within SAP and as well as any other ERP system also we can integrate it. So we have already integrated the solution with ERP, Oracle ERP and as well as Navision. Those two systems we have integrated in our previous implementations. So from the signature side, we have a three type of signature. One is that token based one that comes as a USB token. So here the limitation is it can be like an auto signing cannot be enabled. So at the time of signing, we have to connect the dongle and add a signature from the dongle. So that way here auto signing is not possible to add it. So other two things, we can use a document signer or we can use a hardware security module. So in both the things, it supports for that auto signing. And then similarly, like in this goes in case of document signer, most of the places we implemented with a document signer. So here we take that at a legal entity level, we can buy this signature. This comes as a PFX file. And then we can set the rules how we want to identify the signing authority based on plant. So when it is digitally signing it, we will be seeing that digitally signed by company name. Down we will have a placeholder for passing that signer name and their designation, we can pass it. And in case of HSM, there is separate hardware we have to procure it. In that hardware, we'll be again getting the individual level digital signature. So this HSM we have seen in usage more into finance industries. Otherwise, for invoice signing, document signer is a more suitable solution. More than our 90% of implementation is with a document signer. So we'll move to the next slide. So here some of the example invoices. So here when there is a e-invoice scenario like after that, so it will have a digitally signed invoice along with that e-invoice and as well as the IRN number printed on it. So this is in case of invoice. In case of PO document, we want more than one signature. So that is also we can do that simultaneous signatures, we can add it. So once that all the levels of approvals are over, then PO changes to release status, then we add the digital signature. So this way it can be attached to any type of document, invoices, PO, credit debit note, delivery challan. So we have seen a various document where this digital signature is used across. Yeah. So we'll go to that system demo. We'll share the screen and then just quickly run through that one invoice with a direct signing part.
So you can go ahead and share your screen, Bala.
Yeah. So I'll share the screen. Once you are able to see, please.
Yeah, we can see it, Mr. Bala.
So for digital signature plus e-invoice, I'm just taking that one of the delivery document which are already created. So we are in VF01 transaction. So given that delivery document and then creating that invoice, this is your regular process how you today create that invoice. The same way we are generating the invoice document. So this is a invoice document is generated. That is document number 671. So if we go to that document, we can see it is already digitally signed and as well as e-invoice also generated for this document. So now instead of going with a print in regular route, we will see under the attachment list. There if we go that, we can see the document. So it has that QR code and as well as IRN number. Down here it also shows that digital signature. So this digital signature get added in that to its end of the page or wherever you have authorized signatory, we can do that one. So for digital signature per se, we have taken few of the standard recommendations. One is like whenever we are signing, before that we check in revocation list whether the signature is valid at the time of signing. So that is one mandatory requirement that we validate. And second, we also use the timestamp server to validate our server time and the timestamp server. So that way it became a much more authentic digital signature. Not only just with a signature we are signing, we are also taking a timestamp server input for signing this document. From here, some of the future side, like when we are signing the document, we check that whether that invoice is, like at the time of signing, we validate whether the finance document is generated for the invoice. And in the current scenario, we also validate whether e-invoice has been generated or IRN number is available. Only then we add the digital signature to that invoice document. So, and then we also got a place, either we can say like on the particular location signature should appear, or we can also set it such a way like where it finds that authorized signatory, there it need to add a signature. So system determines wherever there is authorized signatory text comes in, just below that it adds a signature. So that way we can configure it in a dynamically, we can configure the system to sign it. Yeah. So, and then this printing also, we can do it from here, we can print, or if we want to do some kind of mass printing, we can also use that our customized transaction, in which we can see all the invoices generated for a day, and then we can directly go and click on that print or download that file, or we can also say that mass select, and then we can also do that mass printing here. So that way we have the multiple option for printing that invoice document. So here we have also restricted that reprint option, like because it's a digitally signed. So we allow that one time to print. For any reprint, it will have an admin user to print. So those kind of standard validations also taken care into that. Again, this uses the SAP standard authorization. So only if I have authorization for plan 6000, then only system will allow me to print this document. So those kind of whatever validation or authorization you have in SAP, same is carried forward to this screen as well. And same in case of any cancellation happens, either to invoice or to this invoice document, then this digital signature also gets invalidated, and it adds a watermark saying that it is not signed or it is cancelled invoice. So that's how it takes care of that cancelled invoice document as well. So that's a brief process on how that digital signature works. And it works seamlessly within SAP, so that user will not notice, or he will not necessary to log into any other system. So even the signed document comes back and stores within SAP system. That reduces the compliance requirement of storing the physical document for 8 years. So now there is digitally signed document gets stored within SAP itself.
Thank you, Bala. I think this was definitely an informative session. Bala, I hope we have like about 5 minutes. We have our audience have a few questions. They'll post it to you so that we can take it up.
Sure.
Siddharth,
Okay.
you can post the questions now.
Yeah. So there's actually one question from Mr. Chandrasekhar. How long does it take for e-invoice implementation?
So the invoice implementation generally takes about 2 weeks time. Once the prerequisite is met, within 2 weeks time, we can have that system ready for or creating the IRN and the invoice.
Okay. All right. A question from Mr. Sudesh. We are getting a signed invoice as response along with the IRN number and signed QR code. Where do we use this signed invoice?
Okay. So this signed invoice on the QR code is just on the data side, it is a signature. So whatever data we are receiving, that QR code data, that comes as a signed data. So that will be when somebody encrypt that, or when somebody scanning the QR code, that data will be get again, user can read that content. That's like who's sent that invoice and who's the recipient. But the digital signature works over and above that. So even though like e-invoice is digitally signed, that QR code, still as per GST, it demands for that signature from that authorized person. Now that manual signature part can be eliminated with this digital signature solution.
Okay. All right. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Sudesh. Yeah. We have a question from Mr. Rajashekhar. Is there any report like IRN success fail error report generation? You can answer this if it's relevant for you, sir.
So we got that report where we can view that, like for which are all the failed IRNs and what is the reason. Like sometime it is a HSN code different or tax code different. So we also can see that and then go back to rectify for regenerating that IRN number. So there's a report available for viewing that status.
Okay. All right. I think that is about the questions that we've received as of now. We can keep the questions coming in and we'll take it up.
All right.
So if there's any questions, you can please put it on the chat team. We'll be happy to take it up. Yeah, Mr. Naren, you can take it forward.
Thank you, Siddharth. Mr. Bala, thank you again for your time. So to rest of the audience, again, we are moving to the next phase where we're going to show a manual way of generating e-invoice through a Excel template. So hold on for another 5-10 minutes, and that would also be covered in this particular session. Again, thank you for your time and staying with us till now. So Vaibhav, you can share your screen and start off.
Sure. Hi. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'll just share my screen and let me know once the screen is visible to you.
Not yet.
Is it?
Yeah, we can see your screen now, Vaibhav.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is the web platform. This is a web platform where you can just create an account to log in. And once you register yourself, you need to fill in these mandatory details, that is full name, designation, company name, authorized person email, authorized person mobile number, company address, and the GST and PAN number, state code, and so on. So once you agree the terms and condition and click on register, you will be registered to sign in with the to the web portal. So once you for the very first time you want to log in, the email ID and the mobile number works as a password for you. So once you click on it, you land to the dashboard, you land to the web portal. So this is how the dashboard looks like. So we've bifurcated the dashboard into 4 sections. That is generated, cancelled, not generated, and error records. So there was a question from Mr. Rajshekhar. So I guess this also answers the question. So we've bifurcated into 4 parts. So the generated, whatever the invoices the IRN number is generated for will be reflected back in the generated section. So if there are IRN, like if you might be aware about if there are any IRNs that are supposed to be cancelled, it can be cancelled within the 24 hours of generation. So whatever the IRN numbers get cancelled will be reflected back in the cancelled part. If there are any invoices for which the IRN number is not generated, will be showcased in the not generated section. And if there are any invoices that have some issue like errors in them, will be reflected back in the error records. So this is the statistical view, and we even have a mathematical view for the presentation. So this is the company name, the GSTN number, generated, cancelled, not generated, and the error records. So we have a bulk upload option. What happens is a CSV template is provided to you. So this is how a CSV template looks like. Just a second. Yeah, so these are the this is a CSV template which is provided to you, where there are few mandatory fields that are supposed to be entered. So for the better ease, what we've done is we've provided one more sheet that contains of all the mandatory fields. So once you upload all the mandatory fields and fill in all the mandatory fields, you can just upload the data over the portal itself. So all you need to do is just go on the bulk upload option, select the invoice, and choose the file to upload the data. So you can just select the report, and within fraction of seconds the reports gets uploaded. So yeah, so you can see once the report is uploaded, you can go on the generate IRN option. You need to select the GSTN for which you want to upload the IRN for and select the date. So we've bifurcated over here also in 3 sections, that is not generated, error in generation, and generated. So for the better ease, you can just filter out the not generated part and click on view summary. So it will highlight you whatever the invoices for which the IRN is still not generated. So what you can do, either you have 2 options, or either you can just select all option and you can just click on generate invoice, and the IRN for all the invoices would be generated all together. Or otherwise you can select a particular invoice and click on generate invoice. So as soon as you click on generate invoice, within fraction of seconds an invoice would be generated for you. So once the invoice is generated, you can go on IRN view and print. So you need to select the GSTN to check the registered GSTN and select the date. So you can see for right away, it got generated, the IRN number got generated for you. So just to have a view of the invoice, what you can do is just select the view, select it. You can view it over here itself, or you can download it to your local disk. So just to have a view over here, this is how the invoice looks like. So over here we have a web logo. You can even have your company logo over here itself, and this is how the QR code looks like. And here you can even see you get the IRN number. So you get the IRN number over here itself, and you have the complete invoice that contains of details of receiver, details of consignee, and so on. So you can even download a PDF at your local desk from the portal over here itself. So once it is generated and you want to as per the government norms, you want to cancel it for within 24 hours, you can just go on the cancel IRN, select the GSTN for which you want to select the you want to cancel the IRN for, and just paste the enter the details of the IRN number. Over here you get the list of whatever the IRN numbers are generated, and you can just click on whatever the invoice, and you can cancel the invoice. So you can cancel the invoice within fraction of seconds over here itself, and it will be uploaded. You can get all the results over here itself, like what are the invoices for which what you have generated the IRN, what are the cancelled IRN. You'll get the complete report over here. So this is how invoice part is done. So we even have the master management, where you can manage all your GSTNs within a single login. So let's suppose you have 10 GSTNs of n number of GSTNs. You can manage all your GSTN over a single login itself, and just all you need to do is enter the GSTN details and just click on create option. So once you click on create, all your n number of GSTNs would be captured. So we even have a user management creations, like a role. We have a roles creation. So as soon as you click on roles creation, so we can bifurcate the roles into different sections. So let's suppose you want to give some particular roles to particular user itself. So you can just assign those roles, and but people will have only access to those parts. You can even block or edit a particular user if you want to. So this is how the user management works. And we even have the GSTN uploads in the single login itself. So like different kinds of filing, like let's suppose GSTR 1, 2, 3B, 4, 6. So different kinds of filings can be done over the portal itself. All you need to do is just go on the GSTR file, enter the mandatory fields, like select the GSTN and authorized PAN number, click on GSTR 1 file, and the filing will be done. So this is how the GSTN filing can be done over the portal itself. And we even have a automated, like it's a completely automated reconciliation. So if you have the GSTR2 data uploaded over the portal, so what happens is when you select the GSTN for what you want to check the reconciliation for, you will get the complete details of the portal over here. Like you'll get the matched invoices. If there are any missing invoices, like let's suppose there are GSTR2 data, or like if there are missing invoices in GSTR2 like that in the yours data, you'll get the complete details over here itself. Or let's suppose you have a customer or you have a vendor where you've uploaded the invoice, but the vendor has not yet uploaded the invoice, and you don't want that to go in the reconciliation. So all you can do is you can just keep those invoices on hold, and that would be reflected over here itself. So that saves your data from getting in the reconciliation part. So we have various kinds of reports over here itself where it can be completely summarized, and you can get the complete details, like what is the filing status for all the data. So yeah, that is all from my end, Siddharth.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Vaibhav. Thanks a lot for your time. Yeah. I'd like to take a minute off to launch one last poll. Launching it now. I hope you are seeing this on your screen. Yeah, I will give a minute on this, and then I'll close this poll. So team, thank you so much for joining us today and making time for this. Thanks a lot. And we believe there are a few more questions, but since we have to stick to time restrictions, we may not be able to take that. But I'd like to mention that we will be reaching out to you shortly in the coming 1 week. That is, our team will be reaching out to you. So any discussions there is, we will take it up on a one-on-one basis. We can do that. And I'd like to especially thank Mr. Chetan and Mr. Bala for taking time and making this happen today. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So on that note, I think we can close for today's session. And we are also conducting another webinar like Mr. Naren had mentioned earlier during this session. We'll be doing that next week on the 23rd. So we will send out invites and we'd like to see the same audience there as well. And until then, I'd like to say thank you all. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful evening, all of you. Thank you.